What's up, guys? This is Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the broader markets. I'm going to break down why Tesla's attempting to break out right now and why there's a lot more upside potential based off what we're seeing on the chart thus far, and also why tomorrow is going to be a very important day as we have Nvidia's earnings, which could be affecting Tesla and the entire tech sector. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below, or sign up with my QR code that's right over here. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're going to get $20 of free Nvidia stock. If you deposit $2,000, you're going to get $50 worth of the stock. Deposit $10,000 to get $300 worth, and deposit $50,000 to get $1,000 of free Nvidia. You're also going to qualify for an 8.1% APY on uninvested cash, and the offer ends very soon, so check out my link down below to get some free Nvidia shares. Anyways, as far as the market's going, I just want to mention that Tesla is very, very bullish. We talked about how we had a white coffee installed accumulation schematic that was developing, which basically means that we got this big sell-off in Tesla over the last couple of months, which was only because we saw institutions reaccumulating shares down here, and now they're going to let this start to run and finally see these potential targets such as the 358 area, then eventually the 360s, and I do think Tesla could eventually push to those levels. Now, I don't know if we're just going to go straight up to those levels. It's very possible we just go straight up to the 360s, but it's also possible that we need some time to kind of like get adjusted to this new environment. Tesla's not been in the 350s for a very long time. It's been many, many months actually. This is the highest Tesla's been since like June. So Tesla's very high right now. We're going to see if we come down a bit and consolidate first before breaking out, or if we just break out from here and just continue to rally. I think this does depend a lot on Nvidia's earnings and what the overall market does. And the reason I say that is because Tesla is affected by the markets. So for example, check out the 30 minutes time frame on Tesla. Notice that this is Tesla, right? The first couple of hours were just chop, consolidation, chop for about 5-6 hours, sideways price action. Then the last 2 hours of the day, Tesla started to rally, and we got this very, very nice pump. Well, Tesla's not alone. Look at SPY, right? This is the SPY chart. Consolidation first couple of hours, in the last 2 hours, we start to rally. The QQQ, consolidation first couple of hours, then we started to rally. The market's moving very similarly. Even in Nvidia, this was a bit more bullish. It did consolidate for the most part, but it was on an uptrend. My point is that Tesla is affected by the overall market, and that's why it's important to pay attention to news affecting things, because it also affects Tesla. We look bullish. We're also trying to break out of a bull flag right here. We were talking about this in my previous video. But whether or not we get that breakout, of course, depends on some factors. So what's going to happen as time goes on, and we're going to talk about this in just a couple of minutes. I first want to talk about the news and such, but keep in mind this is like a bull flag breakout, and there is still a lot more upside potential. So the news is saying that Tesla has rejected a $60 million settlement in a wrongful case that ended up costing the company $243 million due to a lot of damages that were involved from a legalistic aspect. I'm not really an attorney or a lawyer, so I'm not going to go over the specific details about that. But keep in mind that there was a fatal crash in 2019, unfortunately, where the driver was using autopilot, and Tesla once again had to go through litigation. I wish the family of the people involved nothing but the best. It's very, very tough to see something like that happening. But the autopilot FSD and robotaxi are still a big work in progress. Tesla's made a lot of progress since that time, and Tesla's going to continue to improve the technology. This is important news. I'm seeing this all over the news right now, and I just want to make it clear that if anything, FSD and autopilot are going to become safer and safer. Eventually, they're going to completely surpass humans, and they're going to become extremely safe to the point where you're better off just using it. There's going to come a time one day where that happens, and I just want to make it very clear that Tesla's going to make a lot of money off of that, despite some of the things that have happened in the past. On top of this, Elon Musk reposted that we have built the 100,000th new Model Y at the Giga Berlin. Once again, a bullish piece of news. Very, very awesome to see them continuing to expand their production capabilities. And then when it comes to Wedbush, they're continuing to reiterate that Tesla's going to outperform the market. And the price-price ratio is climbing. So right here, you can see that this green line is going higher. Slowly, it's going higher. That basically tells us that Tesla is starting to build some strength compared to the market. It's not extremely strong, but it is somewhat strong, and it's getting stronger as the days go on. And then for Wednesdays, Tesla tends to be green about 48% of the time. And we tend to see more volatility at 11 o'clock a.m. and also 1 p.m. That's also very interesting for Tesla, at least thus far. that's some good news. We are doing a very, very good job at holding up. And I want to talk about why tomorrow is a big day. So tomorrow is going to be Wednesday. In the morning, we have Kohl's and some retail earnings, but after market close, we have Nvidia, Snow, and CrowdStrike all announcing their earnings. Nvidia is going to be a big one because Nvidia is known for causing volatility for the stock market. Nvidia is a multi-trillion-dollar company, and they are known for supplying chips for all kinds of companies. Tesla announced that they are once again going to be transitioning away from the Dojo supercomputer, and they're going to be depending more on AI-built chips from Nvidia and AMD. So that's going to be important for manufacturing and machine learning. And because Tesla is becoming a lot more dependent on Nvidia, this implies that Nvidia's earnings will be very important for Tesla. If Nvidia does very, very poorly, it could affect Tesla to some extent. So be mindful of that. For now, I think it's very important to pay attention to this. Now, I can't make promises about earnings. As you guys know, we could go either way, but historically, based off our fundamentals, I'm going to be using a tool known as Forecast, which is very cool for this. The raw data on an annual basis, it's very bullish, lots of growth in terms of our revenue and such. We're very, very strong on an annual basis. For 2025, the last quarter, we had very, very good earnings, despite I think their margins did come down just a little bit, but other than that, it was very, very strong, very solid. So they're known for doing very, very well when you look at their balance sheets and such. And then when it comes to our positions, right now, Nvidia is known for being more neutral in August. We'll see if September is stronger or not. And then based off what I'm seeing, let me actually go to fundamentals. Sorry about that, guys. The fair value on average is about $187. We're actually below that right now. And that does open the door for some upside, especially as analysts are quite bullish. Once again, we don't know what's going to happen after earnings, but typically Nvidia is known for being very resilient, very strong in beating on earnings. They're known for that. There's been lots of share buybacks, and overall, I think they're doing fantastic. So I do lean more bullish in terms of what they're going to announce, but I don't know about their guidance. That's the only thing I'm not too sure about. It depends on what happens with China, the regulations and such. President Trump has announced some policy changes that could be affecting their sales in China, especially their H20 chips. And we're going to see what that leads to. Do we get some good announcements involving China? What happens with their margins? How do the tariffs affect them? All those questions will be answered tomorrow. And I think it's going to cause a lot of volatility. So be ready just to be safe. That's why tomorrow is going to be a very important day. Now, I also want to add that tomorrow is Wednesday, August 27th. There's not much data coming out. Very, very quiet crude oil data. We have a couple of Fed speakers like Barkin, but that's pretty much it. There's nothing else that's too crazy. So keep that in mind. For now, we're still looking, I would say, more bullish on Tesla. But what has been fueling the market rally for today was actually President Trump when he gave a speech. And then for tomorrow, it's going to be a big day thanks to NVIDIA. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is President Trump. What did he say? He said some very important things that caused the stock market to explode. The stock market was very choppy, not doing anything. Even Tesla was choppy. Then President Trump made these announcements and the market started to rocket. What did President Trump say? So, first and foremost, he said that there could be a concept of a tariff rebates check for Americans. He was asked by reporters about this, and he said that we have a lot of money coming in. It's coming in tremendous numbers. There's a concept of making a dividend to the people of this country who have paid a lot of taxes and got nothing for it. There's a possibility, primarily, we want to pay down debt, but there's also a possibility that we take a piece of it and make a dividend to the people. So that's very, very important. President Trump is saying, and he also said that the tariffs have been very, very successful. So far, he's saying that they're doing a great job at negotiating deals. And he's saying that we're going to see hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue. And they're going to use that money to not only pay off our debt, but he wants to actually give some back to the US. He's saying that. Of course, we have to see what the action is. Actions speak louder than words. But this is important news. And we're going to see what happens with that. That could be having a big effect on the economy if that ends up being the case. What also pumped the stock market is this. This is the main piece of news. President Trump is saying that he will soon have a majority of his nominees on the Federal Reserve Board who will back his desire to slash interest rates. President Trump said at a cabinet meeting that he wants to fire the central bank governor, Lisa Cook. Okay, she was an appointee of President or former President Joe Biden. This is massive news because he is saying that he's not really happy with the way in which she's doing things, and that once again he wants to fire her and then get the majority of the Fed nominees on his side to cut interest rates. And then he said there's going to be interest rate cuts. Interest rates are coming down. He repeated that many times. He put his hands up and he's very, very confident we're going to see interest rates coming down. Now, the Fed responded and they said that President Trump needs a reasonable cause to do that. He needs a reasonable cause to, get someone to fire someone essentially from the Federal Reserve Board. He could do that if he has reasonable cause. Now, does he have it? He says he does, but some Fed officials like Lisa Cook and many others are saying that he doesn't have that authority. So this is why it might go into litigation. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward because of that, but we'll see what happens. For now, President Trump has been saying that. Yesterday, there was an 83% chance we get a cut. Now there's an 88% chance we get some kind of cut. When President Trump said what he said, he's very confident a cut is coming. And his words actually moved the bonds market, causing the stock market to get a lot of liquidity. That's what helped inject more money into the markets, President Trump's speech. Now, President Trump also said that he'd renegotiate a deal with China, and there's new arrangements for a tariff rate of 55%. That's higher than before, so we'll see if that changes or not. He also mentions that he wants to see China provide the US with magnets, or else he's going to be imposing a 200% tariff on them. Finally, President Trump also imposed more tariffs on India because they're buying Russian oil. He's not happy about that. We'll see what that leads to, but for now, that is a very important piece of news for trade. Anyways, that's it for the main pieces of news. So, because of the news that interest rates could be coming down, and President Trump is fueling the news that there's going to be more cuts. And then also with Nvidia's earnings coming up, those are the big things affecting us. The market's very, very bullish, but we're going to see what happens with Nvidia's earnings. I believe Tesla's going to be pushing to 360 or so. However, I'm not sure what we end up getting from here. It's possible we come back down, retest 350. Even if we retest like 348, we could consolidate and eventually break out for the 358 to 360 plus area. Or what could happen is that we just break out from here. Tesla likes to consolidate and then break out. This happened like 3 times. So, for example, right here, we got a consolidation. Then we got this big breakout with Jerome Powell's speech. We consolidated for a couple of hours, then we broke out. We consolidated pretty much all day today until the final 1 to 2 hours, then we broke out. So look for some consolidation. As long as we don't lose 346, we're looking more bullish and we're favoring more upside. If you're bearish, you want to see Tesla essentially lose 345. If that fails us, we could be dipping to 340 flat, which is looking less probable now. And Tesla's favoring a consolidation than a big pump to these new highs. So I think there's a very, very good chance of that potentially happening because Tesla looks more bullish. Heading into tomorrow, we might see some consolidation between 352 and 348, sideways price action, and then we could be looking for a face stripper push for 355, then 358. Watch those resistances. If that breaks, we're looking for 360, then 363. Either way, we're favoring 360 or so, and Tesla's looking more bullish in my personal opinion. Another thing affecting Tesla is this. We have lots of bullish confluences, a bull flag, Wyckoff accumulation, and then also it's the overall market. If the whole market starts to squeeze, Tesla's going to follow the trend, in my opinion, so long as there's no major bad news. Why do I say that? Well, SPY is very bullish, like I said in my previous videos. Now, I don't know if Nvidia causes a dip or not. If you want to turn more bearish, you first want to lose this white trend line. And then if you lose 633, I will turn more bearish if we lose 633. But there's no sign of that. All we're doing is we're making a higher low, higher low, higher low, and we're just breaking out. So we look more bullish on SPY, in my opinion. So here's what I think is going to likely happen. Just as a reminder, if we lose 642, we could turn back down to 640. But as long as we hold up, we're looking good. Either we come down after Nvidia's earnings and then break out for 650, or we just break out from here and go straight to 650. It's got to be one of those two most likely. Either way, I'm favoring 650 is the most likely possibility on SPY. Whether we come down a bit first and then break out, or if we just push from here, I favor upside for 650 on SPY. On the QQQ, we have a cup and handle. We look bullish on the 4-hour and the daily time frame on the QQQ. Now, if we lose 570, we could turn back down towards this trend line. If that fails us, we have to lose 565 to turn more bearish. As long as we hold this, we're going to be favoring essentially 578. If that breaks, we're looking for 580 plus. However, I also want to add that with Nvidia's earnings, you never know. Either we come back down and then try to bounce for 578, or we just go straight up to 578 to 580, and then all-time highs on the QQQ. I favor that we either dip a little bit and then bounce, or we just break out from here for 578 to 580. We still favor upside, so that's the most likely possibility in my opinion. For the IWM Russell 2000, the 4-hour has an inverse head and shoulders. There's a left shoulder, head, and then right shoulder. If we break past 240, we're looking for an attempt for 245. But if we lose 228, we could be turning back down. Judging by the 4-hour, we look more bullish, and we're favoring, once again, the 240s. If we lose 231, we could turn back down, but this is favoring an attempt to get closer to 240 plus. So the IWM looks more bullish, in my opinion. ES is looking more bullish, forming a cup and handle. Now, if we hypothetically lose 64.40, we could turn lower. But as long as we hold above this, we're going to be favoring 6,500 and eventually 65.25. We favor higher highs and higher lows on ES, and 65.25 is likely coming as we're breaking out right now. We're also making a higher low here, so we're favoring more upside, at least for now, on ES. On NQ, I think we're looking absolutely fantastic. As long as we don't lose 23,500, we're actually favoring 23,700 or above. This also has a cup and handle. Now, if you want to be a bear after NVIDIA's earnings, you have to lose 23,300. As long as we're above this, what could happen is we come down a bit, then we just continue to break out with the cup and handle and go for 23,800 and then all-time highs after that. Or we just don't get much of a dip and we just rally. That's another possibility. We could just rally and go for 23,800 or above. For Bitcoin, we're looking more bullish, so long as we don't end up losing basically 108,000. We're favoring 113,500 or 115,000. We look bullish to me. For Tesla, we're looking pretty bullish right now. I think we're favoring upside. We're going to see if we consolidate a bit between 348 to 352, and then we could break out for 358 later on, and then eventually back up towards the higher levels such as 367. We look more bullish on Tesla. We're looking for a nice breakout. Nvidia is favoring the all-time high test, but it depends on earnings. Do we lose 178 and dump, or do we just pump higher? If we pump higher, we could be looking for 186 and 190, and that could be bullish for the stock market. Apple also has bullish signals. If we lose 225, we could turn bearish, but as long as we're above this, we're favoring essentially 232 or above. So I think we're looking great. Netflix, so long as we don't lose 1213, we're favoring essentially 1240. I think we're still looking quite bullish. MSTR is favoring the gap fill back up towards the 350 area. So I think we're still looking absolutely fantastic, and the bulls obviously have a bigger edge. On Celsius, we're favoring essentially 60.18. If that breaks, we're looking for essentially 60.5. For Supermicro, as long as we don't lose 43.97, we're favoring 45.34 or eventually 46, which is where this imbalance is for more upside. It depends on NVIDIA's earnings, but this looks bullish. Expect a big move thanks to NVIDIA. Palantir is making a higher low here. As long as Palantir does not lose 155, we're favoring 164. If that breaks, I think we easily push for the 170 area. For Rivian, we have a nice looking triple bottom over there. As long as we don't lose 12.9, we're favoring 13.5 or above. For SoFi, we're looking bullish. As long as we don't lose 24.87, we're going to be favoring essentially 26.5. For AMD, we have a triple bottom here. I want to see us break 169. If that breaks, we're looking for essentially 172. If we lose 163, we could turn back down, but this is favoring 169 plus than 172. We're favoring 142.5 on ARM, so long as we don't lose 138. I think earnings will greatly affect this from NVIDIA, but I think we're favoring upside in terms of technicals. PayPal is favoring 70.9, then 72 after that. Coinbase is favoring 315. If that breaks, we're looking for 323. For Amazon, as long as we don't lose 226, we're favoring the 230s, 230, then 232. Meta, as long as we don't end up losing 745, we're favoring 756 and eventually the 765 area. For Google, as long as we don't lose 205, we're looking for some consolidation, eventually 210. And then Microsoft, we're trying to hold support at 502. As long as this holds, we're looking for 506 plus. I think we're looking fantastic. DJT is favoring 18.58. The VIX is looking bearish because every time we keep on pushing, we reject. We need to get back above 16.86 to really break out. If not, we're still favoring downside, which is bullish for the markets. The 10-year is looking bearish, which is bullish as well. The 10-year treasury yield is dipping as a result of President Trump's speech, which is bullish for stocks. The dollar is also dipping, which is bullish for stocks. And then crude is kind of flat. So a lot of factors from the market potentially breaking out to new all-time highs. We'll see if we come down and then try to break out because SPY is still going to test this resistance. Whether we come down and then break out, or if we just break out from here, we're looking bullish. And that could also help Tesla push for consolidation initially and eventually attempt to push for 358 in the 360s. We look more bullish because of what we're seeing on the Fed watch tool, as we're most likely going to get a cut. And then the next factor is going to be the notorious NVIDIA's earnings. All eyes are going to be on NVIDIA going into tomorrow. This is going to be the big dog, causing a lot of volatility. So be ready. It's going to be a very big day. Nvidia is a huge company. If it makes a big move, we could be looking for a launch. So get ready, guys. Thank you all so much for listening. Rest easy, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow before market open. Until then, I wish you all nothing but the best. And please take care of yourselves. Have a good day, guys, or night, or evening, wherever you guys are around the world. And peace out.